Hi everybody. So today what we're going to be doing is learning how to use the Just in Mind prototyping tool. So when you click on the link that's given to you, you're going to be taken to this page that you see here. And what you'll want to do is to go ahead and sign in. So when you click sign in, it will take you to the sign in page. So let's do that. And here you can see it. You probably don't have an account if you've never used it before, so you'll go down here where it says don't have an account and click on sign up. You definitely want to get the free account, don't pay for anything, and you fill in your email address, create a password, and click get started. Okay, so once you get started, it's basically going to you can come back after you've signed in and go to here where it says download free. Click on that and it will actually drop the download onto your computer just like any other software. I've already downloaded it, so I don't want to click that because it'll try to download it again. So just click download free and it'll drop it onto your computer. So once you do that, then you want to open up the software. So once you open up the software, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. And in order to open it up, it was just on my desktop because like any other software, when you download it, it asks you where you want it on your computer. And then it will put a quick link on your desktop. So you just find Just in Mind on your desktop, double click on it, and it opens it up. And this is what you see. And you're going to create a prototype. That's what we're doing today. So you have options. You can create a desktop software that runs in the browser, one that works on mobile, which is what we're going to be doing, that's the phone, and one that works on a tablet. We're going to be creating a phone app. That's what you're going to be prototyping. So go to mobile here and click this little arrow and choose the type of phone that you actually want to create your prototype in. And it's nice when you choose the type of phone that you have, because that way if you did want to run this prototype on your phone, you could. So just pick the phone you like. I'm just going to pick Android because it's the phone that most people around the world have. So let's just click Android. And it gives you the dimensions automatically, which is great, so you don't really have to do anything other than click New Prototype. Now, word of caution, don't choose custom, because then you have to start to put in your own custom dimensions. And if you've never used it before, that just makes it harder. So pick one of the phones that already exist that are options here. That way all the dimensions are going to be set for you and you don't really have to think about anything. So back to Android. New Prototype is what we're going to click next. And here we have our Android phone that we're going to be prototyping on. So let me try to resize the screen. Okay, so now you can see a little bit more of my screen. So as I went through during the lecture, you've got several panes here to work with, and you just want to sort of get comfortable with where everything is. So here, this is where your screens are going to be. This is where you actually make a new screen, and this is a screen, the actual view that's on the phone. To make a new screen, you just click the plus. We're going to do that quite soon, but let's just go over the different panels. So that's where your screens are. And you would name your screens so that when you look over here at the panel, you know what screen it is, and it kind of gives you um, that architecture. Over here, these are your libraries. You can see the word libraries here. Using the widgets is the easiest way to go because everything's already built for you. Um, and you just can start to drop things in and then customize them from there, which is fantastic, right? So when you want to drop in something that you want to create yourself, it's all here for you. So you can drop in some text, you can drop in an image, which is going to open up your computer so you can browse and find the image where you want it from your computer. You've got buttons here that you can drop buttons, lines and shapes, different forms, different ways of navigating. You can, again, buttons, hotspots, menus, um, dynamic content. So you can make panels swipe left, swipe right if you wanted to do that. That's just a little bit more sophisticated. But start really simple, and then you can make it more sophisticated as you go along. There's different screen samples. This is probably what you want to use the most because these screens are already built for you. You just go in and you customize them. So when you're starting, the first thing you want to do, and the whole reason why you're doing this project, is you're learning how to use your critical thinking and problem solving skills to solve a real world problem. And I'm not looking for you to actually find the solution. I'm looking for you to come up with a solution, right? To show me that you're able to use your critical thinking and to solve a problem. And prototyping makes you have to think about the different steps that are involved in solving a problem and creating a solution. So the best thing to do is to start out with the problem that you've chosen from the link that I've given you from the United Nations list of global problems, and then think of a solution, a potential solution, and then from there start to think about what is it that I want my app to do that's actually going to be a solution to this problem, right? And then from there, anything's possible. So let's go back now to our components that we already have pre-made. So you can have this list of items. You can have a navigation drawer. You can put a lock screen on, passcode lock, notification blocks. If you wanted to have email in there, you can add email functionality. Maybe in your app you want people to be able to email each other. You have a map screen, maps backdrop. Maybe you want to be able to have people, go to a map so that they can find certain things. So for example, during lecture, I showed you an app that I made, and it literally took about maybe an hour of just kind of playing around, where people who are farmers could put in the app what they are growing and what they have in excess, and then link up with people who need food so that they can see what food's available that's being grown by people in their home gardens, and then arrange to pick that food up, right? So having a maps component would be really convenient, so that maybe the farmer can drop in the date that they're going to have a certain number of zucchini, for example, and where they're going to drop it on that date. Maybe they want to put a pickup basket or something like that. So you can do that. So you can have maps, album screens if you wanted to add more visuals. There's user screens, book screens, photo screens, chat screens. Maybe you wanted to create some sort of chat app that is a solution to something. a contact screen. There's something called cards. So what you want to do is basically just start clicking on these things and looking at them and seeing what's available, and how you can use that to build what it is you want to create, because literally you could build anything, right? So in order to get a closer look at what these things are, you can just click on them and you'll see it right here in the preview screen, what it is, what it's going to drop. But you could also just grab it and pull it onto the phone and then grab the edges, you know, enlarge things so that you could see better. And here, as you can see, it's giving me a bit of some slow lag because I've got a bunch of programs going at the same time while I'm trying to show you this, to record. And it just makes the functionality a little bit slower for me. But you can change your width and height here, just using the numbers, and that's perfectly fine. So I could double everything. Let's just say 207 by 356. So let's just increase 207. Let's just make it 407. And 366. Let's make it 666, so just doubling everything. And you can see it starts to change it. So now I can move things around. And whatever you've clicked on, that's what's highlighted. So now I'm just dropping the phone down, increasing the width of my phone. So you can move anything in here. And then maybe you can see as I'm kind of shuffling things around, spreading things out, this is giving me some verbiage here that maybe I don't want that. So if I double click on that, I can just hit the delete button and make it go away. Maybe I just want just this image on this screen. So let me just drag it, spread it out. And maybe, and this is where you just get creative and have fun, right? I could change this image just by going to grab another image from the computer, right? So I would go back up. Maybe that's not the image that I want. So let's click on image, and that's just going to make a space where we can drop an image. You can see this little square. That's going to show me where my image is going to go, right? So that's making a placeholder for an image. Maybe that's not what I want. Maybe I want to actually go to my computer, so I just clicked on, let me show you here, this image tab here. Maybe I want to actually click an image from my computer like this one. I double click on it. It says add image, and I want to include the image in my prototype, not link to an image file, because, you know, I guess if you wanted to create something in your app where someone has to click on a link in order to see an image file, you would do that, but I want the image in my prototype. So I click OK, and there it is. And you can see that it's really, really large, right? And maybe that's not what I want. So again, I'm going to drop it down. So let's just start using this width and height. So it's at 1920. So maybe let's just get rid of 1,000 pixels here just to make things easy. 1,000 pixels on each one. And now it's here. So I can click on it and I can resize it just by grabbing a corner, right? Bringing it down. And maybe I don't want this grass image, so I'll just click on my grass image and hit delete, because I don't really like that anymore. And I want to use this one. So I'm going to highlight it, bring it over, resize it to my screen, and try to get an aspect ratio that I really like that, right? And maybe I need some words because when someone comes into my app, you know, you don't just want a blank screen. So let's just add some text. So click text. It says type something here. So I could just grab this and drop it there. Double click on it, highlight the words just like in anything else, and start typing my fancy new app. And you can see that's really small, right? So let's click on it again, and over here on the right side pane, let's try to move it so you can see a little bit better. You can see that it's telling me that I'm using Arial font size 10. Well, I need it bigger, so let's go size 16. There we go. And so I can change the words to say anything I want. Double click on it again and just type find food when you need it. Because maybe that's what my new app is going to be called, like find it or eat it or whatever you want your app to be called. So you can see the sky is the limit. So this is screen 1. So I need to give this screen a name. So let's go over here to this right hand panel and let's change the name of it. So let's make this the intro screen. And I need some space there between intro and screen. So just hit space, enter, and now hit enter. And now this screen is called the intro screen. All right. So they need to actually come in to the website. I'm sorry, into the app, right? So let's drop a button in. So let's grab it, put it over here. Here's my nice button. And I'm going to call this button enter. So I just start typing enter because it was already highlighted, right? And again, I can change the size of my button. So over here in the right hand screen, it says button properties. And so you can see all the properties here of it. You can change anything that you want here. And basically you just start playing around with it. And that's what prototyping is. It's like having clay, right? That you can mold and change and do anything you want. Except it's digital, which is really nice. All right. Okay, so you can have anything you want, except it's digital, which is great. So instead of playing with clay to mold something and prototyping it, you're using a digital format to do that. So anything you want to create, you actually can. So let's go back to making that button bigger. So I click on it, and you can see now everything's highlighted in this square. So I could go over here, and this is our width and our height of the button, and I can change it. Let's make it a really big button. So instead of 68 by 29 pixels, let's make it, say, 168 by 129 pixels. Let's just make it that much bigger. There we go. And now I want to move it because I'd like it to be in the center, and I've got some nice snap lines that come in that show me it's in the center. And you can change the color of the button just by going to these properties. As you can see, you can change the shape of the button, all kinds of fun stuff. So feel free to just have fun with it, right? And play around with it. And here it says round 0, but let's see what happens when we change that round up. Round 3. And then we've got some shadow that we can play with. So all kinds of things. Don't be afraid to just make changes and see what happens, okay? Because you can always change it back. That's the great thing. Just go back and change it back to what you had before, or just delete it and start over. If you like totally mess it up, it's no big deal. No such thing as messing it up. You can always just delete it and go grab the button from the start and put it in there again. All right, so now I have this first screen where they come in and it's saying what to do, find food when you need it, which is great. But maybe I want them to, they're going to have to go to the next screen. So you have to think about what your app is going to do next when they come in. So we need to add another screen because when they hit this enter button, it has to take them to the next screen. So it's all just about screens. What does your next screen do? Where do you want them to flow next when they click a certain option, right? That's really all apps are, is kind of flowing through the app. But to do that, I need to make another screen, and it's really simple. I just come over to this plus button, hit plus, new screen, give this new screen a name, and let's call it first page. And it's going to supercode everything in already. It's going to give me the same type and size so that everything stays consistent. So all I have to do is rename it and hit OK. And here's my second screen. And if I look over here at the right hand side under my screens, I can see I have my intro screen, which I can click on and go back to, make changes, whatever. And here's my first page screen. So my first page screen, now I start filling out this screen as to what I want it to do because they hit enter. Now what do I want them to do? So, I mean, this is where you just start having fun, just going through. Here's some tablet screens, there's some icons. Let's see what's in buttons again. Oh, there's all kinds of beautiful buttons over here on the left. So you can have a button that is actually the word. And you can change that word to be whatever you want it to be, like next screen button. Here's some really fancy buttons that you can use. So you've got this whole, think of it as your toolbox. Here's a bunch of icons that you can use. You can do a fingerprint ID. Maybe you want to create an app where it identifies people in places for regions of the world where they don't have ID cards and things like that. And maybe you're creating an app where they need to come to a certain center in order to maybe get vaccines, but they need to have some sort of identification. And so you want to put a fingerprint capability in your app. You can do that. So anything you can think of, you can have your app do. That's the beauty of prototyping. Microphone, I mean, you name it. So go through, have fun, use your imagination. All right, so let's just throw something in here really fast because I want to show you how to connect things because that's what you need to learn how to do next. So let's just go to this screen that says, let's make it a chat screen. So I'm going to click on this chat screen. You can see what it looks like. Let's grab it and put it in, because maybe they're going to go to a chat, okay? All right, so now I have the chat screen. So let me show you how to go from one screen to another. So they're going to start at the intro screen, right? And then when they hit this enter button, I want them to go to my first page. So I need to make this enter button go to the first page, and that's really simple. Now that I have my first page sitting here, all I have to do is click the enter button, right click, and you can see there's lots of options here to reorder it, to align it with different things, but what we're looking for is navigate to. So click navigate to. Now it says, okay, what screen do you want it to go to when they click on that area? Well, I want them to go to the first page. And I can add a transition effect, which is nice. I can have no transition effect. It just goes to the first page. But let's do something fun, like have it, let's see, slide up. That's always fun. And you can set the duration, so how long it takes for it to slide up. It's automatically sent here at 500. Let's just go with that because we haven't even seen it yet. It says, hey, the link was successfully created. So I can click on the play button and test it out. So let's do that. So let's hit got it. And that's done. So let's hit this play button up here at the top right and take a look at our prototype in action. So it's going to open up a browser page that basically has your app sitting there the way it would look to someone on a phone. And it has this hotspot so you can see where you would be touching or clicking on the app. And again, you know, inside your app, you can make any of these hotspots live. If I wanted to make, you know, this picture actually go to a different screen, I could. But let's hit the enter button and see if it actually, there we go. It takes us to our second page, which is the chat. Completely illogical because I just dropped in something just to show you, just to make it work. But that's fantastic. So that means our link to the next screen worked. And so this is fantastic. Now let's, you can close out of this and go back to our editor. And I want to show you that when you have these widget pages, you can change anything in here and make anything live. So see where it says Maggie Phillips. Maybe I don't want that to say Maggie Phillips. Maybe I want that to say, and I'm double clicking on it. I want it to say farm chat. Farm chat. So it can say anything I want it to say. I could hook this telephone icon, double click on it, and I could hook it up. See when all the little buttons go around it, then I know that that's what it's looking at. I can actually connect this to something, right? So let's go over here and find some of our phone features. So as you can see, it's just a really simple way to just make things work, right? So you can just go over, find the phone feature in here and connect it to a phone feature so that way when somebody clicks on phone, it's going to open up, I need a telephone pad, right? So they can actually dial. So let's go through my widgets and see if we have a phone pad, which I'm sure we do somewhere in here. Let's look in menus and tabs. This is our top menu. While we're here, tab overflows, status icon, toggle on, toggle off. Let's search and see if we can, what we find under just phone. What do we get? Oh, here we go. So we can use these different icons. Phone in talk, phone Bluetooth, right? But here's a nice widget that popped up that basically is contact phone, which is really cool. So we could connect it to that. So we'd open up, add another screen, put this contact phone on it, and then right click this phone, right? And navigate to that new screen that we made. So I think you get the option, I think you're, hopefully understanding how things are made. You can remove anything that's in a widget. This is what it's going to give me here, so that the person went to like a contact phone in order to call the contact, because again, it's a prototype, right? So really cool. So there you have it. Let's click on more libraries. Look, there's even more libraries here. So what I have clicked here, that just came automatically clicked. I didn't have to add this. It was already there. But because I chose Android phone, it automatically added the Android components library, Android icon library, basic widgets library. But it looks like there's other libraries that are there. And these are the iOS. This one's really cool. So this is a UI kit for designers with clean, stylish components for fast diagramming. That's really cool. Sketching, some clean, stylish web components, but we're not building a web app. We're building a phone app. But it looks like there's an option to download even more widget libraries that I haven't even looked at. So lots of options there. Okay, so let's get out of the phone. I just clicked X, took us back to all of our basic library with all our other widgets, which is really cool. Okay, so now let's just say you have finished creating your app, whatever it is you want it to create, and let's just move this over to make sure you can see what I did there. When I searched, I just here in the library, I just clicked the little magnifying glass and typed in phone because that's what I wanted to know. What do we have in phone? And then it gave me all these different icons and things that I can work with phone. And this is the one that I clicked on, contact phone, that gave me that widget that looked like you pulled up a number in your contacts. Okay, and to get rid of it, I just hit X, and it took me back to my basic library with all the different widgets that are there to use and drop in. Okay, so let's say you've now finished building your app, and everything's all nice and connected and hooked up the way you want it. You've used the prototype play button, so you can go in and start clicking and pushing all the different buttons to make sure they go where you want them to go. And everything seems to work fine. You're really happy with it. Then you would go here to share with reviewers and developers. I should say a little something about this icon. So I haven't clicked on it. Let's click on it, see what happens. It's publishing the prototype. So you can open the app. This means that I want to actually try to make it work on my real phone. So what you would do if you wanted to do that, you don't have to do that, is you would go to the App Store. If you have, an iPhone, you would go to the Apple iStore, or if you have an Android, you would go to the Google Play Store, and you would get the Just in Mine app, and then download that onto your phone. And then all you have to do is click View on Device, and your app is going to come up on your phone, which is really cool, because then you can share your app, with friends, like, hey, look at this new app that I just, created. Get some feedback. If you were working on a real project, if you really got into this and wanted to create an actual app, this is what you would do. Definitely get feedback. So that's what this little button right here does. It lets you see your app on your actual phone. And this play button lets you see your app in your browser. And then to share it, you would click on Share with Reviewers and Developers. So let's click on that. And we want to select this latest simulated prototype. And if you have multiples in there, like I have another prototype in there, right? That's the one that I showed you on Thursday. But let's just say we're going to share this latest simulated prototype. Then let's hit OK. And you need to click that you want to view it in your account. So this prototype 1 has been successfully uploaded and published in the account. And make sure you name your prototypes, because otherwise it's going to get really confusing for you when you have all these different prototypes. So now it takes you to your account because you signed in and you have your account. And so what I like to do, especially if you have forgotten and you didn't name your prototypes, you can look at the timestamp to, fetch the latest one. So maybe it'll say prototype 1, prototype 1A, prototype 1B, and you're like, which one was the last one I worked on? Look at your timestamps, and then you can always delete the older ones so that you don't get this laundry list of all these prototypes in there that gets really confusing. To do that, you would just go to Actions. Here it says delete prototype. You can definitely delete the prototype. You can replace it with a newer version, that sort of thing. If you wanted to, you can download the HTML code. If you were working on a web page, you can actually download the code, which is really nice. But what we're going to do is we're going to send invites. So this is the finished prototype that you created. This is the one that you actually want to go ahead and upload as your submission. So let's do that. So send invites, and you would basically put my email address in here, which you can see here is Courtney_Angela@smc.edu. And then you would, in this message, you must put your name, bio 3, and your name. And then here where it says subject, you've been invited to review a prototype, you would type bio 3, right? And then put your name here in the message. Otherwise it comes over and I have no idea who it came from. And you're not going to get credit because I have no idea who it came from, right? So make sure you put your name here in this message. And then you would just hit send invitation. Okay. So that's how you would send the invitation. So make sure as well that you, in order to have your submission, you're going to have to do your screenshots. So let's go back. I'm going to open the file of my previous cancel. Let's see if I can find my previous prototype and show you how to do those screenshots. Or well, let's just do it in this one because there's only 2. You need more than that, more screens than 2. And of course, this is just a really wonky one that I did really fast for you. But again, you would go here to your play button. Oh, look, a new version. Okay, we're not going to do that right now. Go to your play button because we want it in browser. And you would center everything up. And here you can see it's really large. So I need to Control minus shrink my screen so my whole screen is there. Great. And now I'm just going to grab my screenshots of my different pages, right? And drop them into a Word document, which I'm going to convert to a PDF. So you guys should be like really used to doing your screenshots at this point. So screenshot your first screen, so Control print screen, drop it into a Word document, hit your button here, get to your next screen, Control print screen, drop it into your Word document. So in your document, I see all your screens lined up. So in one glance, when I look at your PDF, I can see all the screens you created, right? And then you're also going to write, what problem you solved, what United Nations problem you chose to solve. And then you're going to tell me how this app solves that, that problem that you chose, right? What does it do? This app basically connects farmers and people who grow food with those who are in need of food by allowing the farmer to input what they have grown, what date it's going to be available for others to come and pick up, the location where the farmer is going to drop the food. Then those who are in need of food can directly connect with those who grow food in order to get food in a timely manner, right? So something like that. It doesn't have to be like completely in detail, but what you're going to find is you're probably going to really get into what you created, and I hope you do, right? And you want to explain it so I can understand it, because when I look at a bunch of screens, like when you look at this screen, yeah, it says farm chat, but if I don't have any context, I don't really know what it does, right? And again, you can kind of change any of these pictures, anything that's in this prototype, inside of your editor, right? So you will change it so that it has more context, but you still need to explain to me what it does. But in each screen should also, because when you think about your app, when someone goes to get your app, you're not going to be there to explain it, right? The explanation should be here in the app as well. So that's part of that critical thinking and the building process that you're working through. So I want you to remember the whole purpose that you're doing it, so that you're working on your critical thinking, your problem solving, and actually chewing on a real world problem so that you can understand all of the steps and the processes that go into solving a problem and using digital tools to do that. And it's my sincere hope that you now have a new skill that could very well change your life, right? You never know what someone is going to come up with that could be something that's really useful for the world, that someone else needs and that everyone else is looking for. And you could have found and created that solution. And solutions don't have to be like, completely, um, world changing, right? Sometimes the smallest solutions, the simplest solutions, have the greatest impact. And so I did. I was asked a question. So when we do the prototype, when we complete our prototype, and say we've actually created something that we do want to, um, put in the Play Store, how do we do that? How does that work? Well, it's actually not that hard. So when you have a prototype, even though we have all of our buttons working and everything is functional, it's not in the form that can go into the Play Store. You actually have to have someone build the app itself. It has to be put into code. And so in order to do that, what you would do is you would go to some place like Fiverr, and hire a, say, Android developer or an iPhone developer to write the code that matches exactly what you just created and the functionality. So you would email, send them the invite to actually, look at your prototype and build that prototype for you, right? And Fiverr's the cheapest way to do it, but you're in college, so you can just go over and find a friend who's in computer science. And once you have the prototype, you're giving them the exact screens and the functionality for someone who actually codes. This is a piece of cake, and it doesn't cost that much for them to build. And so they could build it for you. And once it's built, and usually if you're building for an Android phone, you're going to build that in the Android developer console. They'll do that, and they give you that code, and that's what you upload to the Play Store. I think it costs you like $35 to upload it to the Play Store. And if it's an iPhone type of app, then Swift is what's used to actually write that code. And again, they just write exactly what you gave them, which is so easy for a developer. They love it when you give them a prototype because they know exactly what to build. Because literally when they're writing the code, it's very similar to this, right? Except it's in code, and now they can see exactly what to build. And so out of Swift, they give you the code and you upload that to the Apple Play Store. I think Apple charges a bit more in order to put an app in. And from there, you start to get your users, right? And you start to get feedback, which you guys are used to giving on apps, right? And then you can go in and change it and modify it and make it better, and get it in use. And so from there, what you would do to, kind of finish answering that question, how do you build a company out of this prototype? Then from there, once you actually have an app in the App Store and it's in use and you're getting some good reviews, then you would join a group that is like a startup accelerator. They're free to join. And essentially you would go for investors to invest in your app, and you're showing already that here it's in the Play Store, it's in use. People are using it, they love it, we're getting 5-star reviews, that sort of thing. And right now, startups that are going for monetization, they're starting anywhere from $1 to $12 million valuation. So this is a useful skill. And if you have no interest at all in starting a company and building a true app, what you are learning that's most valuable is critical thinking, how to apply it, how to solve a problem, how to prototype, how to think about those steps in a process to solve problems. So there you have it, super simple. Kids that are now in middle school are using this exact prototyping software. So as you can see, it's not that hard. And in order to stay current with the skills that not only your group has, but those who are right behind you, the skill set that they have, being able to digitally prototype is an extremely useful skill. And I can't wait to see what you create. So that's it for this tutorial, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Hi guys, this is just a bonus on how to change the background in your screens. You don't always have to have just a white screen. So basically I just opened up a new screen just by hitting plus new screen, and of course gave it a name. Here I gave it the name background, just to show you how to create and change this white background. So here, because I'm in the background screen, I'm in the properties over here on the right hand side, you can see that it says color here. I can add an image if I wanted to, and that image would be my background, which is great. But maybe I just want to change the color. So I click color, and essentially now I can click this white box, and it gives me this color wheel, and I can click it and change my background to any color that I want. Change the temperature. Maybe I'm wanting some sort of green, since maybe my app is a food app, right? So that's how you can change the background of your app very easily, and super nice. So I hope that is helpful.